At this time, what I'd like to do is introduce to you the director for the RISD PreK programming at this time. I'm going to hand it over to Miss Katie Finney to introduce herself and her team and to tell us what all this is going to be about.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Katie Finney. Thank you for that introduction, Mr. Benitez. My name is Katie Finney. I'm the Pre-K Program Director for Richardson ISD. I want to thank you all for coming and being here tonight. And with me, let me see, I believe, let me press screen share real quick and make sure that I get a thumbs up from someone that they can see. All right, there we go. So, let me just move things around for just a second. There we go. So right here, you'll be able to see, there we are. So we always do our introduction from here. So I am Katie Finney. I'm your Pre-K Program Director. This is year 16 for me in Richardson ISD. I began as a Pre-K teacher at Skyview Elementary and then completed my master's in early childhood as well, and became the Pre-K specialist, and now have the honor of being the Pre-K director. With me tonight, I have Ms. Lauren Ledford and Marissa Evie. They are both our Pre-K program specialists. I think they're waving at you on the screen. So they're joining us tonight. Then you don't see Ms. Shauna Ballast on the call. She had a, when we had to reschedule, she had a second engagement that she had to be at tonight, but she is our Chief Intervention Officer, and she is who oversees the Pre-K program. And then, of course, as Mr. Benitez introduced Ms. Teresa Ordonez as our interpreter, she is also on here with us. So let's get started. Tonight, we're going to go over the Pre-K for All initiative. We're going to talk about who is included in RISD Pre-K and where those programs are. We're going to go through a little bit about the Pre-K guidelines, and those are our standards, which is just like what we teach. We're going to talk about some just overall best practices in our program, go over a few FAQs that I get asked frequently, and then we're going to touch on enrollment too, because we know it's that time. So during our little presentation, if you don't mind, please utilize the chat for any questions that you have. Lauren and Marissa are going to be monitoring that. They may answer you immediately, and they may wait to provide the answer at the end, because it might be easier to tell the entire group. But also, as you can, please keep your microphone muted unless you are sharing out. So first and foremost, I wanted to talk to you about, you'll see it, right? You'll see it all over RISD. It's our logo for RISD Pre-K for All. We are actually in our third year of implementing our goal of reaching Pre-K for All. We're not quite there yet, but we are on our way. We started about 3 years ago. We only had 31 teachers, and we were serving children in a half-day program. We have now expanded where we have 85 teachers, and we are serving all in full day programs. So we are committed to this in RISD. It's part, we went through a strategic planning process. We're going to get into the why that we did that in just a minute, but we, our superintendent, Dr. Stone, and Deputy Superintendent Tabitha Branham, and our board of trustees have supported us with this vision, and we're really excited to watch our program grow. So you may be asking why, like, why did RISD choose to implement Pre-K for All? Why is it so important? And I have this up on the screen. These are just some short-term and long-term impacts that we have. If you'd like to take a second, I'm just gonna kind of be silent for a second and let you glance through and read those. If there's one that really stands out to you, just pop it into the chat. But because there's a lot, and I know you don't want me to just read aloud to you. So I'm going to give you a second to read some of those impact statements. And if there's something that shouts out at you, go ahead and type it in the chat. So as you're going through those, it's obviously important for us for kindergarten readiness. Kindergarten readiness is the biggest indicator for third grade reading. Third grade reading is the indicator for eighth grade algebra. Eighth grade algebra is the indicator for graduating high school. So all of those things, if you track it all the way backwards, begins with us. And so we are really, that's why. a big why of why we're implementing this pre-K for all, and we're trying to close those achievement gaps and serve as many students as we can. So you obviously can see some long-term impacts on the right side as well. But again, I'll let y'all read those. So moving forward, what I wanted to kind of go through is what programs we're offering in RISD. So currently we have a free program for our qualifying students for pre-K 3 and pre-K 4. And then for this next year, moving into 21-22 for the first time ever, and we're very excited about this, we're opening a community tuition for pre-K 4. You may be asking why not pre-K 3? And it's simply because we have very limited seats for pre-K 3, and we have to serve our qualifying families. We hopefully, again, with that pre-K for all vision, we hope to get there, but we're just not quite there yet. So we are opening the door for tuition for pre-K 4s, but not for pre-K 3s quite yet. Our pre-K 3 seats are very limited. So for those of you on the call who are looking to qualify for our free pre-K program, right here on the screen, you'll see our eligibility criteria. Students must be aged 3 or aged 4 by September 1st of that school year. So going into this next 21-22 school year, they will need to be either 3 or age 4, and they need to be the appropriate age for the appropriate program. And then they have to meet one of the following criteria. They can either be an English learner, which means that they speak a language other than English at home. And if the family indicates that during enrollment, we then give the child a language assessment. And as long as they are not considered proficient, then they qualify for pre-K. And then they have the options of bilingual or monolingual programming. The child or the family would meet the needs of being on free and reduced lunch, those income guidelines. It does change a little bit annually. And so we have that listed on our website as well. The family, if they meet the criteria of being homeless, if they are a child of an active military dependent, a child of a member of armed forces who was injured or severely injured or killed while on active duty, those families are eligible. Also a child of a person who is eligible for the Star of Texas Award. And what that is a similar to the armed forces one, but it is a first responder who has been severely injured or killed while on duty. And they actually have an award that has been granted to them. And so we are allowed to serve them as well. And then also children who are or ever have been in foster care. So those are your eligibility criteria for free pre-K. So where are our programs? Right here, you'll see there are, currently we're across 26 campuses, but a couple campuses are not on this list because they are currently for employees only, but the majority of them are on this list. But this is where our pre-K 4 programs are. And you'll notice that right with the pink, it says Dobie Pre-Kindergarten School. That is where our 3-year-old seats are. So the other schools do not offer a pre-K 3s. All of our 3s are centralized. Again, we have limited seats, but they are centralized at Dobie Pre-K School. So every year we are adding and expanding. Just a couple of years ago, we were only at 21 campuses, and now we're up to 26. So what do we teach in pre-K? You may be asking, like, you're going to send your little ones to us. So what are they doing? Right here, and I believe, Miguel, I'm hoping we will be able to send out links or be able to attach them when we post them, but there is a link right there that says find the Texas Pre-K guidelines here, so you can dig into them yourself, or you can simply Google it. But there's 10 different domains. We've got 144 guidelines, and they are span across the domains of social emotional learning, language and communication, emergent literacy, reading, writing, mathematics, science, social studies, fine arts, physical development, and technology. So as you can tell, we're hitting every area that there is to hit. And again, we will post that for you, or actually we probably can put it in the chat for you if you want to click it. You can then have access to go through them and see exactly the specific guidelines that we teach to. So the first one that we talked about, and I wanted to highlight this for you tonight, is in our classrooms, one of the most important parts is teaching social emotional learning. And we know that if you were to ask a kindergarten teacher what is their biggest benefit of a child being in pre-K, and it's that they're able to self-manage and self-regulate. And that's something that we focus on a lot in pre-K. We utilize conscious discipline. You can Google that as well. We can put the website in the chat if you want to dig in more. Lots of families use this at home. We have a Brain Smart Start every single morning. This is like your morning meeting, and it gives the children a chance to unite together with their classmates, learn how to connect with one another, learn how to be kind. We focus on disengaging stress. They learn calming strategies. You'll see the star, the drain, the balloon, and pretzel that you see up there. Those are our 4 main ones, but they learn multiple throughout the year. And it's amazing to see a little 3-year-old or 4-year-old who will they'll help their friends when they're frustrated, that they know they need to just stop and take a deep breath before moving on. They also utilize, I'm going to skip to the bottom of that where it says a safe place. We utilize a safe place in our classroom. You'll see that picture kind of at the bottom right of your screen. And that safe place is where we teach our children that if they need a moment to walk away from whatever overwhelming emotion they are going through, whether they're frustrated, whether they're scared, whether they're sad, or they're angry, that it's okay to have those feelings, and that we can go to this place and we can help disengage that stress, whether they're doing their calming strategies, or you can see their feeling buddies in there where they're relating to that that feeling that they see on the feeling buddy's face, or they're making the choice to, I choose to use, they have calming cream, they get a little squirt of lotion, and it's amazing what a lotion will do to help calm someone down. So we utilize those inside of our classroom. They also make commitments. You'll see those pictures up on the screen. They make a commitment every day to keep their classroom safe. And if you ask a child what their teacher's job is, and they'll tell you it's to keep their classroom safe. And so it's the teacher's main job. And so the children every day, they make goals, and they decide, like, at the end of the day, did I do a good job on mine, or did I do it, or oops, I need to work a little bit harder on it tomorrow. So that's kind of something that you'll see throughout our pre-K classrooms. You'll also see wish you wells. It's something that we do, is that when a child is absent, we always talk about that and wish them well. So it really creates a loving environment and caring environment in our classrooms. You'll also see helpers throughout our classrooms. Our goal is for every child to have a job, whether that job changes usually weekly, I would say. Every classroom's a little bit different. So that helps the children to have ownership in their classrooms and leadership opportunities. And I see some things popping in the chat. Do we need to unmute right now, or should I keep going?
We are good to go.
All right. All right. So what does instruction look like in pre-K? We always talk about the 3 Ps: planned, purposeful, and playful. So everything that your children are going to be doing in class has been planned, it's purposefully planned, and it's also playful. So when your child comes home from a day in pre-K, you know what they're going to say? We played. And that's good. We want them to say they played, because their play is their learning. We have a whole group of, at a minimum of 3 read alouds a day. And those read alouds are connected to literacy. Sometimes it's math, sometimes it's science, social studies, things like that. But at a minimum of 3 times a day. They have free choice centers, which we'll talk about on the next slide. And they also have small group instruction. We know children need individualized instruction, and therefore we have small groups throughout the day as well. They're always going to be hearing music, and then we're going to be moving around. We know that asking a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old to sit still for 30 minutes is not a good idea. So we are up and moving every probably 5 to 10 minutes. They also attend specials. They go to music, art, and PE or library. And then at Dobie Pre-K School, it is a little bit different. They have some more specialized classes because they are a pre-K only school. But on your traditional elementary campuses, they do attend music, art, PE, and library. They go out to recess at least twice a day. We always encourage our teachers to take their learning outside when possible, because we know fresh air is always good. And again, it gets them moving. They have lunch and snack. They also have breakfast if they come early enough for breakfast. It just depends. And then they also have a nap time. Our 3-year-olds have an 1.5-hour nap planned, and our 4-year-olds have a 1-hour nap planned. So I mentioned free choice centers because you're going to hear this. Your kids are going to come home and they're going to say, I played in centers today. Okay, what does that mean? These are at a minimum, most of the centers that every classroom will offer. We have an ABC center, a writing, math, science, pretend and learn. Pretend and learn changes. So at the beginning of the year, it's going to be a kitchen, or it's going to be a home, but then, or a school, and then it progresses throughout the year. So right now we're learning about transportation. So their pretend and learn center may be an airplane, or it may be a Starbucks or a Home Depot when they're building things in construction. So their pretend and learn center changes. They have construction, which is you'll probably better known as blocks. They have listening and library center, creativity or art center where they're creating, and then a sensory and a fine motor center. So that's where they're getting their hands messy in different things every week. Sometimes they are using a whisk, and they're whisking soap and water to make bubbles, which is strengthening their fine motor skills so that they're ready to write. And then also you'll notice we have iPads throughout our classrooms, and they're embedded throughout. So sometimes they may use them in a center, or they may use them in a whole group lesson. The picture you see on the side, when I say that they are self-managed free choice, this is an example of the children came and they put their name tag in the dramatic play center, which is just the pretend and learn center. And so when they're ready to leave, they take their name tag out and they go to a new center and they get to play there. So it's not a, you must go to this center at this time. The children have the choice. And so they get to go there and they play there. And then when they're finished, they mosey on to their next center. So I'm going to move to some frequently asked questions. Question I get all the time is about their child, if their child isn't potty trained yet, and that's okay. Your child can attend RISD pre-K without being toilet trained. We do ask, if possible, to get your kiddo into pull-ups because that's a little easier for them to start self-managing. But if there's a reason why your child cannot, just explain that to your teacher, let us know, and we will help. We help create plans and things like that and get resources needed if needed. So please know, even though they may still be having struggles in restroom, that's okay. We're there to help, and they are welcome to be joining us in pre-K. I already talked about the nap hours, but they're on there. I think I explained about what is an EL, but just in case for everyone, again, an EL is an English learner. And you may say, well, my kid, they're all learning English, right? And that is true. However, it is specifically for our families who speak a second language at home. And they identified that or indicated that on their home language survey. And that's when we then give a language assessment. And if they are not considered proficient, they are then considered an English learner. Another question that we get asked often, is about before and after care. And we do have before and after care, and that is provided through the Explore program. So if there's any questions about Explore, we do have a website for that. It is our before and after care program. And then also the question, it's what can we do? What can we do at home to prepare your child for school? And two things. One thing I ask is that you read every day. We can help you get access to local libraries to find books, or there's lots of apps out there now that we can get you connected to find books online. The other is, and I say this one with caution, but less technology and more play. One of the hardest struggles we have is our kiddos, they love our iPads, they love the phones, and they're on educational programs at home. They're watching TV on their little different devices, which is great, but then they come to school and they have to put that down, and that's hard for them. So I ask you to start transitioning them to more play, get them outside, play games in the house, interact together, so it's less of a transition for them when they come to school and they don't have their own device to hold on to. So definitely keep reading at home every day. So in case you didn't see, online enrollment did begin on March 1st. But please know you're not late because qualifying pre-K appointments aren't beginning till April 1. So we open online enrollment early because it's a lot of paperwork, of course, online, but there's a lot of things that we need. So we have lots of time to get those things in, and then we will start beginning those appointments with our newcomer center beginning April 1st. So if you've online enrolled and you haven't heard anything yet, it's okay. The campus student data specialist is reviewing documents, they're contacting families, and they will set you up for an appointment as soon as everything is in order. So I just put these flyers up on your screen. If you have a child previous or currently in RISD, you may have already received this. And I know it's small print, so I apologize. It is on our website, and I'll get that up in the chat for you as well. But this just is kind of what we've already gone over, is the options for our free qualifying program and the tuition-based option for those that do not qualify for free. One thing I didn't note, and I want to make sure that I share, is those of you that are community tuition, we are not seating those families until probably the end of May, beginning of June. I am required to serve all qualifying families prior to giving a seat to a community member. Therefore, just hang tight. We do feel confident that we will have plenty of space to add more students, but we are going to be serving our qualifying families first. So at that point, I think I'm ready to take questions. So I'm going to stop screen sharing and answer any questions that have been put in the chat. And Lauren or Marissa, if everything's already been answered, we may be okay.
We have, Katie, we do have a question from a family who wrote it in Spanish. And so I'm
Oh, yes. If you can translate for me, that would be fabulous.
I'm going to do that right now. So we have a question. How much would it cost if you don't apply?
So if you don't qualify for free, then our tuition for community is $525 a month.
$500.25.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. Thank you. Yes. $525 a month.
Yeah. Okay. It goes on to say that she applied, but her son, that there was, let me see, yo apliqué para mi hijo, pero dijeron que no había en O. Henry. Es la escuela que me corresponde. So I'm gonna guess that this, she's saying that she applied for her son and there wasn't any space at O. Henry, which is the school that belonged to.
Is this for this current year or for next year?
Minerva, es para este año. Puede hablar sin conmigo y yo le puedo traducir.
Soy yo la que pregunto.
Okay.
Bueno, es para el próximo año y sería para PreK 3 porque él no cumple los 4 años hasta septiembre 8. Entonces fui aquí a la O. Henry y me dijeron que ellos no tienen PreK 3.
Yes, correct. I think I understood, And he doesn't turn 4 until September 8th.
That's right.
And so he's considered a pre-K 3, and you're correct. We do not have pre-K 3 at O. Henry. We only have it at Dobie. So that's probably why they were telling you that, but you still can go through the qualification process. And we do wait, since there are pre-K 3s is limited. We have a lottery. And so we take all of the applications, we get as many people in the applications, and then about the end of May, we pull a lottery for those seats at Dobie.
Solo que todavía puede aplicar, solicitar un lugar y tener una lotería donde usted puede, bueno, meter la información y ellos escogen de esa lotería a ver si puede agarrar un lugar.
Okay, gracias.
De nada. And I believe, Miguel, I want to make sure there's not any misinformation. I see that we do have some employee tuition families on the call or on the Zoom, and I want to make sure they know that the cost is different for employee tuition. So they're not hearing this and hearing a different cost. It is a different cost for employees. So if y'all have any questions about that, please reach out to me.
There was a question here that asked, and let me see if I can get to it. What is conscious discipline?
That is a great question. Conscious discipline is how can I explain this? It is a method, a program that we use for social emotional learning. So if you were to just Google conscious discipline, you will find a wealth of information and resources because people use conscious discipline at home. They use conscious discipline from pre-K all the way up through high school. Uses it. RISD only uses a portion of it because it's part of our curriculum resource. So we only use parts of it. So it's kind of a foundation of social emotional learning. So that's where we talk about that, teaching a child how to self-regulate and how to calm and how they find that interact with their feelings and being able to name those feelings and things like that. So I hope that's a mini answer to your question.
And yeah, in the chat, I put what is conscious discipline. It's a really good kind of view of what that looks like and kind of a further breakdown of what is it?
Yes, and they the question is, do they have resources in Spanish? And they do. Yes, lots of resources. Another question that came to me is, how does asynchronous learning different from synchronous learning? So right now we are in this pandemic time that we're in. So right now we're offering face-to-face learning and virtual learning. So our face-to-face, they are in class learning all the time. So that is a live teacher all the time. Our families who chose virtual, that's when the asynchronous and synchronous comes into play. Your synchronous is when your teacher is Zooming with you live. They're on the computer with you. Your kids are interacting with that teacher. The asynchronous part of it is the work that we provide you to do with your child at home. So right now we utilize a platform called Seesaw. And we're able to push out activities, and your child and you can get onto that little app. And whether you're sorting shapes on there, or maybe you're watching a story being read aloud from a video from your teacher. So that asynchronous is that time that you don't have to do it at a certain time. You're able to do it whenever you need. It's more flexible, where that synchronous is live with your teacher. I think I got all the questions, but if there's any more, please feel free to pop them in the chat or unmute and ask. We're here.
Si quiere, puede hacer cualquier pregunta. Aquí está para contestarle a sus preguntas. O si quiere nomás hacerlas, aquí le podemos ayudar en este momento.
So the question that's coming to me is, pre-K students aren't on Zoom. They are only on Zoom if you choose virtual learning and you are learning, and the child is learning from home. That's the only time children are on Zoom. Our face-to-face students who are in the classroom, they are not on Zoom.
You know, I want to add that, you know, as families, as you know, as we're looking at these pre-K programs and learning about all the wonderful things that are happening inside those classrooms, I think about our families and how we can support our teachers to make sure that they're, you know, our children are ready to learn, you know, that we are doing things at home to help our teachers with, you know, with the learning process and helping our students. So, you know, I think about the attendance, making sure that they're on time, that, you know, of course, that they're ready to learn. I think about, you know, that they're eating healthy. The school district, we're doing everything we can to provide them a nutritious lunch. Breakfast, lunch, and no supper. But we want to make sure that, you know, our families are doing the same things that the schools are doing to help so that we can work together in partnership, so that we can support the learning process and help our children be successful, because this is part of that foundation. And after this, we got to get them ready for the next grade level, and then the next grade level, and then the transition to middle and high school. So it's part of a big process, and so we want to be able to help support that. I think about, talking a little bit about discipline, some of the things that what is utilized in the classroom. Those are wonderful management programs. We have to have good communication with our teachers so that we'll know what they're doing, so that we can help support that at the home, because I know that discipline and structure looks different at home. But let's try to work with our families, with our teachers, so that we can implement some of those things at home as well, so that there's continuity, or there's, the standard is the same. And then I think about, when we talk about the emotional aspect and the psychological aspect, this is a really critical piece, because the school, the program is really doing some things to address those needs, those emotional needs, and children going through things. So if there's things at home that are going on, we all experience life, and life brings us a lot of challenges. But what we really need to how can I say, understand is that what's happening at home, if there's some traumatic event, if there's a lot of emotional things going, that we need to be able to prepare our children when they get to the classroom, because they're going to take whatever's happening at the house, they're going to take it to that classroom. So we need to try to make sure to help them through that. And when we drop them off, really get them ready for that classroom. As you're maybe walking them to the school, or you're driving to the school, say, hey, you're going to have a wonderful day. I want you to listen to the teacher, and they're going to be, help your classmates, follow the rules, and really kind of prepare them as they're getting ready for the day. Tell them how much you love them, how much, their teachers care about them, and, really get them involved. If they've gone through a traumatic event or something, really work a little harder to make them feel secure, make them feel loved, so that they can be productive in the classroom. So this is something that I think as parents, we really need to work to support what's happening at those schools. So I just wanted to share that with you. And of course, Katie and the specialists, they're the experts when it comes to the pre-K programming in our district. And so they're working diligently, just extremely hard to make sure that your child is successful in this program. But as parents, we need to also support those things, and having.
Miguel, can I chime in with you?
Absolutely.
I just want to share, so 2 things. First of all, something that when you're going through that list of things that teachers would love to have parents help with, it's sleep. Make sure your little ones are getting to bed early. Trust me, you're going to want a break anyways after a long day, but I'm sure you are busy too. So please get those little ones in bed early, 8 o'clock. Get them in bed. They have a long day. They start early. So and a great way to do that is taking 10 minutes off bedtime every night. If you're used to having that little one up with you till 10 or 11 o'clock at night, just start breaking that down by 10 minutes every night. And by August, you'll be there. And of course, there's nights you want to stay up a little bit late, cozied on the couch watching a movie, but just try not to make it your norm. Try to get those little ones in bed early. We need their brains to rest, and so that they are prepared to learn. The other is, we talked about that partnership, and Miguel so nicely that we're the experts, but y'all, you are the experts. The parents are the experts. You know your kid best. and we are here to learn from you. We're here to partner with you. And so that's why, as he was talking about different things going on at home and getting your kid prepared for school, if something's happened at home, or if you're just, you're thinking about, you're like, maybe I should tell the teacher that, shoot them an email, shoot them, give them a quick phone call and let them know, just so that they're able to receive your child in, and even be more flexible to whatever's going on. Because again, like my own child last night with the tornado sirens going off, we were a little groggy this morning, and because we were behind, and you can shoot the teacher an email and say, sorry, we were up for an extra 3 hours in the middle of the night, we may be a little cranky, and that allows that teacher to know what's going on. And so when your kiddo may want to go to the safe place for a few minutes and they may fall asleep, you know what, that's okay. And no, we're not going to let them sleep in the safe place every day. But on that special day, when something happened differently at home, we're able to provide the best education for your child. So, and I believe, Miguel, there's a question in the chat that I need your help with.
Yes, I saw that coming, but just for clarification, I meant the experts in the programming piece. So,
I know.
I mean, our parents, of course, when we work in partnership, I mean, of course, they're going to know their children, but
of course,
I'm not going to take that away from you guys, because y'all, there's a lot of great skill set in everyone. Anyway, so here we go. Si el niño califica para un inglés y si no habla, okay. Okay, so she's asking about qualification.
If they don't speak English at home, if they have the bilingual program, is it say something like that?
Yes.
My years as bilingual are coming back.
Yeah. You did it. Nice.
So yes. So during that language assessment, so when you indicate during enrollment that you speak a language other than English, they ask you 2 questions, like what does your child speak mostly at home and what does your family speak mostly at home? When you indicate that you speak a language other than English, whether it's Spanish or Amharic or Pashto or Vietnamese, that then triggers us to know that we need to give your child a language assessment. So we will then give that language assessment, and the newcomer center staff, and that's who goes through that assessment with you or with your child. They will then offer you the options that we have. So yes, for our Spanish speakers, they may recommend the bilingual program, and then they'll talk to you through those options, whether it's a bilingual classroom or an ESL classroom. All of our teachers are certified as in ESL, which is English as a second language. So they'll talk to you through that. Unfortunately, we don't have a bilingual program for Vietnamese or for Pashto. So those students, we would offer a monolingual classroom with an ESL teacher. So their teacher is trained to be able to provide instruction to students who speak a second language, but are trying to learn English. And so we use different things like visuals and just different things like that to be able to support the child in learning English. And if I did not answer your question, please clarify.
And I'm gonna bring Teresa back on. She's our interpretation expert, right? And so I'm gonna bring her in, our translating expert. So I'll bring her in here a little bit to make any clarifications. But I did, there's one that did come in, Katie, and it says, if she qualified for pre-K 3, will there be transportation?
Oh, great question. And I did not go over that. So we do have transportation for pre-K, but it is a little bit different than other grade levels. Our transportation is from their home campus, so where you live campus, to the assigned school. So for our 3-year-olds, if you live all the way at Forest Lane, you can get on the bus at Forest Lane and we will take you to Dobie, but we will not pick you up from your house. We pick you up from your home school and take you to your assigned campus, because Richardson has over 40 schools, and therefore they don't all have pre-K. And so if your school doesn't have pre-K, we will pick you up from where your school is and bring you to that pre-K that we assign you to. Great question. Thank you. And I have one other question that came to me about if the child needs to bring a sleeping bag or a blanket or a pillow to school. And that is also a great question. We actually provide nap mats and blankets. So they don't have to bring anything. And they're little cute little cots that raise up off the floor, this much off the floor. And they, I wish I would have put a picture in. Did I put a picture? I think I have one picture in there. But they sleep soundly and it is amazing. You would think it would be hard to get 20 little children to sleep, but my goodness, they are tired and they go to sleep pretty quick. Occasionally someone stays up and that's okay. We let them read books or use something quietly on their mat, but or on their cot. But no, you do not need to bring sleeping bags or pillows or anything like that. We have washers and dryers, so we wash everything. If anytime there's an accident, we're able to take care of that too. And yeah.
Wonderful.
Keep the questions coming. Anybody else? I'm needing to tweak the presentation for next time. I'm like, I got to remember to put these things in. Great questions.
Right. So going once, and we're going to wait a little bit, see if everybody, somebody can build up some courage to ask a question.
And Lauren or Marissa, if I missed anything that you feel like we need to share, please feel free to unmute. I know one thing I thought about is we do have a Head Start program also in RISD, but we qualify you first through us, and then if we then share that information to Head Start, and they, we then seat Head Start after that. So I did not have that in the presentation, but we do offer a Head Start program also.
Wonderful.
No question is a bad question. So if you're thinking it, please. And I will go ahead and put my email in the chat. And if you do have any questions, please feel free to email me. This is the busy enrollment time, so I am getting questions all the time, and we're trying to share all information that we can. So just reach out at any point in time with any questions. We know this is your first time possibly bringing your little one to school, and we want you to feel comfortable. So any question is a fabulous question. And yes, Forest Lane does have pre-K, but it is pre-K 4. They do not have pre-K 3, they have pre-K 4.
Okay, Miss Minerva, si en caso de que no califique para pre-K, me gustaría tener información de Head Start. Okay, so she says in case that her child does not qualify for pre-K, she would like information about the Head Start program.
So if you qualify for, if you qualify for Head Start, you will qualify for us. So that's why we actually they have a harder qualification than us, if that makes sense. So if you don't qualify for us, you would not qualify for Head Start. So that's why we have you go through us first, and then we go to Head Start.
Okay, wonderful.
I have a question that's coming to me that do pre-K students put a pin in at lunch, and they actually use little cards now. And to be very honest, I don't know if it's a QR code or if they have a pin and the person who's working in the cafeteria, if they put it in, but either way, I know they're on cards and kids are no longer having to type everything in. I know that much. I just don't know if they're scanning them or if they're, I'm not positive.
Katie, I've got one for you and the team. Can you tell me about the drop-off and pickup protocol, what that looks like?
Well, I make sure I answer what the question is you're asking. But so every campus is a little bit different. So it depends where you're at. So they'll give you information on that, whether there's a certain location if you're walking, there's a certain location if you're driving and dropping off by car. But every campus kind of does it a little bit differently. Right now, due to COVID, I believe most people are staying in their cars and dropping off at the door. Usually, historically, first day of school, they'll let the pre-K family walk in. Due to COVID this year, we were unable to do that, but typically they let the family walk in for the first day or two to get in to help the kiddo get down the hallway. But after that, they ask for a hug zone where you hug your little one at the door and say, we love you, see you later. And that's when your teachers and campus staff will take over. Same with carpool, whether you're picking up in a car or whether you're walking home, every campus has just different procedures. So they will let you know where exactly to drop off and pick up at.
Thank you.
Of course.
All right, we've got about 10 more minutes. Want to honor everyone's time.
I've got another question coming to me.
Okay.
Sorry, it's in direct message, so let me read it. Okay, so can the older child do virtual while the pre-K child goes face-to-face, so that the older child can help with their sibling with bathroom and lunch? So if the older child is virtual, they would be at home and the other child would be at school. So I don't, maybe I'm misunderstanding the question. So feel free if you want to unmute and explain, but please know the teacher. So we have a restroom policy in pre-K, and it's for protection of child and staff, where if a child needs to be changed, there's always 2 people in the room. And so they take restroom breaks. Some classrooms at some campuses have a restroom in the classroom, and some have them in the hallway. So they go in groups into the restroom, and the teacher's always standing outside in the hallway. So they're there to help. Oh, great question. Okay, so the question is, if the older child is doing virtual instruction, can they come as a sibling and do virtual in the classroom with the pre-K student? And unfortunately, no, the only students that are allowed to be in the classroom will be the enrolled students. Good question, though. But I promise you, we're going to help them. We can help set up plans and things like that for the toileting. Any other questions?
Okay. All right. Well, I think
One more question.
Never mind. See, just
no worries. But this is a great question. Do pre-K students get homework? And so this is a great time to touch on this. Our pre-K students, we don't send homework every day. Your homework's to read every night. That's really where we want you to focus that intention, that time. You may get activities. You may get a scheduled calendar of different things that you can work with your child at home on. Our biggest thing is that we want you engaging and interacting with your little one. And so you're not going to get worksheets of things to do. We are, again, planned, purposeful, and playful. So we are wanting you to have fun. We want you to spend that time engaging with your kiddos, learning vocabulary, talking about things around your house, and of course, reading. So no official homework, like you have to turn this in, you have spelling words, any of that. You will not be getting any of that.
Great. We have a question here in Spanish. It says, the evaluations or assessments for the children, are they in person or Zoom?
Is it for language assessments? I want to make sure because
son las evaluaciones de idioma.
I just want to confirm.
No, de cuando los lleva uno a evaluar como si califican. Cuando los lleva uno al centro que está allá en la Bedline.
Mm-hmm. So when they take them to the assessment center.
Okay, yes. So the language assessment. During COVID, they did the assessments online, but we are bringing in our students for language assessments now. So they will call and they'll set you up an appointment for that. the reason I asked about is we do give our students assessments just to see where they're at and how they're growing. And that assessment is via a computer, but with the teacher right next to the child. So they just show them pictures and talk to them and ask them questions. So that's more for student growth than language assessment. Another question coming to me is there going to be a virtual option next year? That is the question that everybody wants to know. And I'm going to give you the answer that I know is we don't know. I believe there's a lot, and it gets very technical, and I am not the best person to speak to it. But it boils down to this year, the state of Texas allowed a waiver for school districts to allow a virtual option. And they are talking about that in the state right now. There's some different bills going on to see if they're going to allow us to do that again or what it's going to look like. So right now we're on hold. And I'm positive that the district will make that announcement as soon as there is a decision. But from my understanding, there is not a decision at this point. Great question.
Katie, when we talk about the classroom assessments that the teachers do, is this something that the teacher will share, like maybe at a certain time? Or?
It is so amazing. So it's called CLI Engage. It is our circle assessment. And what's great is the parents get a printout. They can get it like in hand on paper or via email, and it has a QR code on it. So you're able to see how your child did on the assessment. And then you're able to use that QR code to go to activities that support your child at home. So if they are, let's say, needing some more support with letter recognition, they would go to that little QR code and it would pull up activities that the parent can do at home. Rarely is it anything that you need. I'd say rarely, I don't think ever, is it something that you need to go buy. It's stuff that's around your house. It's things that going on a letter hunt around your house and looking for letters around your house and things like that. So we are very excited about that. So we send that home. Again, we do beginning, middle, and end of the year assessments, and we send home those reports and activities every time. Something about the Newcomer Center. Sorry. You're muted, Miguel.
Let me see. ¿Y los lleva? No. Su pregunta es, Ms. Espinosa, si lo lleva su niño al Newcomer Center?
Sí, cuando yo ahorita apliqué y llevé los papeles, me dieron una cita para el 6 de abril para que yo dé mi permiso de evaluación. Entonces, mi pregunta es que ya quede mi permiso para cuando lo vayan a evaluar. ¿Se lleva el niño al Newcomer Center o es por Zoom la evaluación?
She got her appointment to for the language, and so is she going to take him to the Newcomer Center for the evaluation?
So I don't want to misspeak because we have two types of appointments right now. We have a virtual, a telephone appointment, and we have a language assessment. And it sounds like you're scheduled for a language assessment, but I never want a family to drive over without and then it not be that a language assessment time. So if you can do me a favor, and if you can email me your child's name or direct message it to me, you don't want to put it in the chat for everyone to see, but if you can direct it to me, or if you can email me, then I will get back to you and confirm that it is a language assessment and that you're going face-to-face. I just don't want you to drive over there if it's not a face-to-face appointment.
Okay.
Teresa's translating all that for me.
Solo que Teresa le está traduciendo todo eso. Es Espinosa. Okay.
Nada. Y'all have such good questions. I'm going to have to really up this presentation next time. So sorry.
All right. So I want to thank you. I want to thank everyone for joining us this evening and to hear this wonderful presentation from the pre-K department. Thank you, Katie, Lauren, and Marissa. for all the work that you do. And parents, thank you for, joining us and getting this wonderful information. You guys are the ones that really, when we work together, really, really impact student success. So I'm very, very fortunate to be working in a district.
Muchas gracias.
Sí, gracias a usted, señora. Where, our priority is to ensure student success.
Gracias.
It's just a wonderful, wonderful thing to see. At this time, what I like to do is just before I close, Katie, do you have any closing comments or statements that you want to make before we close this evening?
I was just typing it in the chat. Thank you all very much for coming. At any point in time, never hesitate to ask a question. Right now, we're here before you, but your campus can support you as well. Oftentimes, because pre-K is a small part of a big campus, they push questions to us, and that's great. We are here. So at any point in time, like if we're here to alleviate any stress. Like, we know it's hard to let your little ones out the door and into this big school, but we're here. Again, our teachers' jobs are to keep your kiddos safe. And so we're going to do that, and we're going to teach them, and we're going to prepare them for kindergarten and an amazing educational career. So again, that's with you by our sides. So let us know anything we can do. Let your teacher know when you get your teacher, let them know anything. And thank you again for coming.
Wonderful. But before I hit the close button on this meeting, I have to share my screen and just show you how to get to the RISD Parent Center. All you'll need to do is click Parents, and the little dial is still spinning. And that's going to open up a page to our Parent Corner, where you can find resources on just a variety of things, such as the digital tools and resources for our families for you to look at. I mean, we've got Focus in here. We've got Google Classroom, Seesaw, all the things that you need to know. Then we've got our Parent University. And the reason I like to share this with you is because this is our video library, is where we keep all our our sessions, and they're all in English and Spanish. So this session will be posted to this site. And I think, Katie, it's going to also be posted to your site as well. And so I just wanted to quickly just show you that. Thank you again for joining us. You can access the Parent Corner by just going to the RISD website and access it. Just hit Parents and it'll take you right there. Hit the Parent University tab and you can go to the video library. All right, well, y'all have a wonderful evening. Thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you later.